They're back from who knows where, drinking beer and betting sports. It's the Better or Worse podcast with Mitch, Randy, and Jersey Joe.
All right, so we're back, and we decided that we were going to start jumping in and doing an hour-long show every Saturday before tip-offs because we love college basketball. If you haven't followed us a lot, you know that we live and die with college basketball. The next 3 months is really where we feel like you can make a lot of money. College basketball offers you a lot of opportunities if you stay disciplined. And I feel like today is the first day of 2022. It's a Saturday. We also have some NFL action on tap. The NFL playoffs are going to be a little later today, so we'll cover that. I'll cover that at the very end. I'm just going to do a quick show. I want to talk about sport hitters and what's going on in sport hitters and along with brackets in college hoops. Looking at the board today, there's a lot of stuff. There is games that start at 12 and they'll go right up until midnight tonight. And I think that provides opportunities to be disciplined, play your game, spread out over a period of time, win a little bit of money today, and then enjoy the NFL games. But make your money in college basketball today. So a lot of what we look for is home teams. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of the pundits yesterday were on VCU. VCU had this, 6-7 game winning streak. St. Bonnie's supposedly isn't the same team as it was last year. But the truth of the matter is St. Bonnie's is the same team. They had 5 starters that are all the same 5 starters as last year. They all played the majority of the game. They were all back. Lofton's back. And it was an easy home win for St. Bonnie's going off at -2.5. You got to look for these opportunities. So today, if you go through the board and you look at today, well, Seton Hall's playing really good. But you know what? Marquette's no joke. They're at home. And I like Marquette. I like Marquette a lot today. It's an early game. It's a good way to get off, get into the games early, enjoy an early game, make a little money, and then set up your late slate. And that's kind of how I played it. And it's kind of how I played our brackets. I played our brackets so that in sport hitters, when you take brackets in sport hitters, it's all pick'ems, right? So you're just picking winners, but yet they weight they weight teams like you do weight a fantasy sports player. So in the brackets today, you take Marquette and they win, you're going to get 10.25 points for the win. That's a big number. That's a very good number to get. Because then most people, if you take a favorite, you're getting 7.5 or 8 points, which means it puts you up to 2 wins. Someone has to outwin you by 2 to catch that 10.25. So I really started off with Marquette. Listen, Kentucky at home. I'm not a big fan of the way Tennessee's playing right now. Tennessee is going to struggle on offense, and when you struggle on offense and then you go on the road, you've got problems. I think you're going to have problems in the SEC this year. You've got to have, defense does travel, but they're not the same defensive team that they were the last couple of years, and they are going to struggle a lot on offense. And I think Kentucky is going to have plenty of manpower and offense to beat them today, especially at home. So in the brackets, you're getting 7.5 points if you take Kentucky and they win. And that to me is a good play. There's a lot of value in that. The regular line at 4.5, I think there's a lot of value in that line too. I do like Kentucky minus the 4.5. So the way that I typically set my brackets up is I pick my brackets the same way I would pick in the sports book. If I can't take them in my brackets, I'm probably not taking them in the sports book because I don't feel comfortable with them trying to win a game. If you're talking about 3 or 4 point spreads and you're not comfortable with them winning a game, why are you taking them plus the 3 or 4? If you're so good that you can actually forecast that a team is going to lose by 3, you literally should be the guy making the lines. So The other game that I like a lot today is Western Kentucky. Now, Western Kentucky, it's not because North Texas is a bad team. It's just that Western Kentucky actually has a 7'4", 7'5" center. That's actually a pretty good center. And I think going up against, a team like North Texas, he should get his double-double and should be able to control the paint against North Texas. North Texas has some good wins this year, and actually is better than what you would think out of a North Texas team. But I just like the fact that there's a guy 7'5" out there playing for Western Kentucky. It's a mid-afternoon game here on the East Coast, and it's the last game that I have in my bracket, which would set up for a nice, it should be over, before we get into that Patriots game, which I'm going to cover here in a second. But I really like my brackets today. I like my Marquette, my Kentucky, my Western Kentucky. I like all three, taking them straight up in the sports book as well. And so, I'm hoping to go 2 out of 3 and have a good day, and then roll into, be able to get into some football. And when we start looking and we start talking about some of the teams right now in college basketball, I know a lot of people are looking at Creighton. So Creighton is a very interesting team. This team is overperforming. This is a team that I followed quite a bit the last couple of years. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, I had Zagorowski as my player of the year. They came back and they surprised everybody last year when they came back and having the season they did. And then they had a mass exodus of players. There was a problem with their coach. But they're overperforming this year, and they're going on the road today, playing a really strong team. They're getting involved with Xavier, who is shooting well this year. Line sitting at 9.5. 9.5 is a number that typically people cover. It's typically a number that the favorite covers. So if you're looking for an early game and you don't like the Marquette, you don't like a home dog, you like having those strong favorites. Xavier is a pretty strong favorite today. Creighton is overperforming, and it's a Big East. It's a road game, and Xavier does shoot lights out right now, and probably will shoot really well at home today. So there's a couple ways. There's a couple ways to start your college hoop Saturday off pretty good. It should be an exciting day. But I'll be on Marquette. I know that Randy, I'm assuming, will be heavily watching the Michigan State Northwestern game. They are offering Michigan State at -7.5, which is my favorite number. However, I am staying off of that. I just think I'm not sold on Michigan State right now. And Northwestern is actually overperforming as well after losing their best shooter going down to Indiana. They're actually playing really well. Boo Boo is actually having a really good season. So looking forward to the lineup. So we got a 12, we got a 1, I got a 4, and that'll lead me into the late games. And it's a lot of fun. So the cool thing about college hoops right now is that it used to be that Friday nights were all Ivy League. So you had the night off. Back when I was in college and we were, betting religiously, Friday nights were, you had no games. We were at happy hour. It was all Ivy League. And then you woke up and you got ready for Saturday. And being on the West Coast, you get ready for Saturday at like 10 a.m. So, but last night we had some cool games. We had St. Bonnie's blowout of VCU. You had Illinois beating up on Michigan. And, the late game was a really, really great late game. Richmond and Davidson. For those of you that didn't watch the Richmond-Davidson game, it was an incredible game. Really was. Both teams shot lights out. Richmond, I've been trying to find out what's wrong with them because they actually have a lot of talent. Richmond has a lot of talent, but they have two guys that have no idea how to play defense. They have a guy that's really good at defense, but then they have two guys that literally killed them because they don't know how to play defense. And in the end, the guys that don't know how to play defense ended up guarding the guys that were shooting lights out all game. And the guy that was shooting lights out all game for Davidson hit a 3 at the buzzer from 30 feet because he wasn't guarded again. So Very fun, entertaining game to watch. A lot of talent out there for both teams. Um, but man, those guys are making shots, making plays. And so if you didn't get a chance to see the Richmond Davidson game, you lost out because it was a fantastic game. And Davidson is, even though they lost Kelly, who's now playing on Duke, from Davidson, boy, that team is actually, they got two guys that are doing 90, 50, 40. They got two guys going for 90, 50, 40 this year, which is unheard of. And for those of you that don't know what a 90, 50, 40 is, it's 90% from the foul line, 50% from field goal, and 40% from three. They have two guys in line to do that. Matter of fact, they have three guys shooting over 45% from three-point range. So they are going to be a fun team to watch. Now, they're not athletic. A fast team can probably dribble around them. But playing in the A10 that they're playing in, they're a fun team to watch. And Richmond actually has a really strong little point guard, Gilliard, who is all over the place, plays great defense, and very fun team to watch. Good. This is where you can make a lot of money when you get to know the A10 and the top 3 or 4 teams in the A10, and when they play those bottom tier teams, and you see those 7.5 point lines, 9.5 point lines. Last night was a 1.5 point line, was a little scary. But when you see the top tier in the A10 versus the bottom tier in the A10, it's a good opportunity to make money in those games. So for those of you out there looking for opportunities, watch the A10. They'll give them to you. Watch the Big East top tier versus lower tier in the Big East. Watch the Big Ten home teams versus road teams. There's just opportunities out there, and you're now looking at January, February, and March where it's going to be heavy every day. Every day you have opportunities to go out there and go 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4 in college basketball, and really stockpile and build your bank account, build some wins. Also, jumping in and playing brackets every day. So in Sport Hitters, what we've done is we've set that up so that you literally, if you pick 3 or 5 games and you go and you play 2 other people, you're tripling up. You can go 2-1 and triple up just by picking the right games. So listen, the opportunities are there, and this is what we really built Sport Hitters for, and what we really enjoy the next 3 months of college basketball. But look for the teams right now that are overperforming. Look for them to go on the road and see them struggle a little bit on the road. Davidson now has the longest winning streak in college basketball. They've got a couple good road wins, but I could see them struggling against a VCU who puts on press and will speed them up. The problem with VCU is they give you open looks, and Davidson knocks them down. So that's going to be an interesting game. At VCU, you take VCU. At Davidson, you take Davidson. So look for those games. Anyway, looking forward to today's slate in college hoops. But I definitely also want to jump in and kind of talk a little bit about today's NFL. So when we're starting talking about football, we got NFL coming up, and on the slate. So everybody's jumping on the Buffalo Bills, and Randy mentioned this yesterday. It's crazy to me taking the Bills today. Everything to me points at the same type of game in which Bill Belichick completely outcoached McDermott a month ago, in which he ran the ball 90% of the time, and I think they threw 3 passes and they got out with a win. Kept it low scoring, kept the game on the ground, kept it in the defense's hands, and everything sets up all over again for that. I mean, does anybody think in minus 10-degree weather that you're kicking 50-yard field goals? Does anybody think that in 50-degree weather that Josh Allen's going to throw 80-mile-an-hour fastball and Diggs is going to catch the thing and not break his hands? Listen, Josh Allen can throw the ball through wind. He can throw it in cold weather. But guys have to catch it. And when it's 10 degrees out, you're minus 10 or minus 5, you're breaking your hands. You're breaking your fingers. This sets up for a smash mouth football game. Buffalo has struggled running the football all year. Buffalo has struggled stopping the run all year. They've played better on the road for the very reason that when teams come there, they don't throw the ball, they run the ball. If you look at Buffalo's hold games this year, they get dominated by the run. it actually has been a disadvantage for them to play at home based on the way that their team is set up. Their team is set up to throw the ball. They went down into Tampa and they came back by throwing the ball. They didn't win the game. When they went on the road into New England threw the ball a lot in that game. I think they're going to learn their lesson. They went into Buffalo, they ran the ball, they beat them. They came home, they tried to throw the football, and they lost. I think they're going to go into Buffalo, they're going to run the football, and they're going to beat them. So I like teams that are used to winning. I'm in a sports bar last night, and the guy looked at me and goes, "Do you think the Patriots actually have a chance in that game?" I says, "Have a chance in the game?" Belichick and Brady own more of. This is what I said. Belichick and Brady own more of the Bills than the Pagulas. They own that team. They've owned that team for 20 years. And he proved it again a month ago when he had one of the greatest coaching games in the history of games, because he only threw 3 passes and he got out with a win. He adapts to the environment. He adapts to the other team. He makes you beat yourself. And I expect Josh Allen to get frustrated today. I expect the Patriots defense to have a strong defensive effort. I expect the offense to run the football. I know that Wynn isn't playing. I expect him to run the football and get out of there with a win. I was amazed by the question again in how someone is asking me a question: does Belichick have a chance to win a game today? And you're talking about you're talking about a road game today that he just went on the road and in horrible conditions. And you're talking about Belichick. There's not going to be a team that's prepared more for the environment when they get there. There's not going to be a team that's prepared more for the game plan and how to win that game than the Patriots. Does that guarantee them a win? No. But can they win? And should they be getting 4.5 points? Should you ever give Belichick 4.5 points? Ask yourself that question. The answer is no. You shouldn't. So when you start looking around at all the games, on tap, and you see these lines, and you just ask yourself, what are we doing here? Listen, the first game, the Bengals -6 against the Raiders. Well, I think the easy play is the Bengals. I don't know what the weather is going to be, but unless that's -10 degrees there, I think you got to take the Bengals. The Raiders are happy to be there. They won 2 very tough games on the road, one on the road and then one at home, right? They beat the Colts to get there, and then they beat the Chargers to get there. But I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a different animal. I mean, you're looking at the Colts and Carson Wentz collapsing at the end of the year, who also lost to Jacksonville. So I don't think you can give that the weight that it originally deserved. You're looking at the Chargers, who basically had the better team on the field, and their coach coached them out of a game. And while the Raiders coach did an incredible job this year in taking over a very difficult situation, I don't think you're looking at anybody's thinking that the Raiders are actually going to go into maybe I'm wrong, but the Raiders aren't going into Cincinnati and winning the game. So now you're looking at the line, -6. Boy, you're looking at one of the, a very talented Cincinnati team. They're going to be amped up. They're young. I think they're going to be amped up. Can they control their emotions? I believe so. But I also don't think that the Raiders are as good as they showed the last 2 weeks. I think they caught some teams in bad situations or making some serious mistakes. And I don't expect the Bengals to make those mistakes. And that's a funny thing to say, considering it's the Bengals, right? So I do. I like a road team in Buffalo. I like a home team in Cincinnati. And I said it yesterday. I said, listen, I'm going to, my brackets are going to be with my props today. I'm taking, there's an interesting prop in sport hitters. And it's passing yards in the Bills game versus rushing yards in the Bills game. And it's a combined. And I think there's going to be more rushing yards in the Bills game today than passing yards. And I think the Patriots are going to end up with more rushing yards. I don't think the Bills are going to be able to rush the ball against the Patriots. And anybody that's watched the Bills this year knows that they can't stop the run. The only rushing that they should be doing on the Bills would be with Josh Allen. If Josh Allen can get 50 yards rushing, they have a chance to win the game. He needs to drop back in the pocket. He needs to take off to give the defense fits for the Patriots. That's about the only thing I can see them having advantage. Outside of that, I see a lot of advantages for the Patriots with the weather and running the football. But anyway, that's our quick take on Saturday. I want to keep these short to 20 minutes. And like I said, my brackets today are Marquette, Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and college hoops. I've got I've got a couple props in sport hitters, and then I'm definitely going to be on the Patriots plus the 4.5. I'll be on the Bengals minus the 6, and I'll be on all 3 of my picks: Marquette, Kentucky, and Western Kentucky, and college hoops. Enjoy it, guys. Have a good Saturday. We may come back tomorrow and do a quick NFL cap and college look in tomorrow.